Doing something a little bit different with some best of one with Angel. I think this hand on the draw is fine. Bishop into whatever is generally solid, although we do need to draw a third land in a timely manner. Unable to play with fire, it looks like. Alright, looks like we lose because we didn't draw a third land. I was going to say, basically no way we win there. Right, we're back for match 2. It's a bit of a gamble with mana situation, but if we draw a 3-drop into another land, this hand could get very, very good. So. Alright, and our opponent goes Island. So, most likely up against Spirits. Nope. Blue-white then. So some people had a question about the elf variant over playing the older version with like Nykthos and maybe some other random 1-drops, and I just don't think that that version's good enough anymore. They have Spell Pierce, they have Spell Pierce, we're not playing around it anyway, so of course they do. Okay. We could just jam Righteous Valkyrie, but there's a very good chance they're holding on to make disappear. So I don't want to give them like any good targets for make disappear. to at this point, but there's a very good chance they've been holding on to a Make to Spear this entire game. Okay, or they're just blue-red tempo instead of creativity. Oh, is this a Phoenix deck? Looking more and more like a variant of Phoenix, possibly. Problem is, they both play such similar cards, it's kind of hard to... Pitch a Fire Impulse, that's interesting. Alright, come on, do something. There you go. Play the bishop first. Okay. Okay. Maybe they're blue-red Drakes instead of blue-red Phoenix, which is a deck that I believe recently did well. Had a recent finish in Pioneer. But once again, all of the Izzet Shells, Phoenix, Drakes, and Creativity play a lot of the same cards, probably like 30 or 35 of the same cards. So and they concede. Alright, this hand's a bit awkward with the mana situation with too many lands almost, but we'll keep it because we have 2, 3, 4, so. Blue-white control, probably our worst matchup. Okay, maybe Bant Spirits instead. Yep. Rattle chains, sure. Not sure why you main phase that against green-white, but like I said, sure. Well, it clearly has access to something here. Some type of 1-mana spirit incoming. Opponent decides to do nothing. Okay. So 1, 1. Kalia's restoration for 4. Alright, and what I can see. Alright, hand seems pretty solid. One thing I've noticed about Angels is they tend to be a very mediocre best of 3 deck and a very good, or to at least decent best of 1 deck. Okay, do you have Brittle Cathar or Ossification? Screeve. Alright, that's pretty reasonable curve. Guess we could technically have played this and saved us some life. Brutal Cathar. Interesting that they take Giada. I was dumb with Coppercoat Vanguard in play. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do this for 3. Alright, and that is why Angels is so good in best of 1. Even when the aggro decks get out, they still get generally pounded in the ground if you can find your land drops. Alright, this hand has a little bit less exciting on the draw, but we do have a lot of our life gain development and 3 lands, so looks like we might be up either against mono green, Gruul, or mono green aggro. Looks like mono green. This is a trickier matchup. If we were on the play, I'd say we were favored, but on the draw, it's probably okay. Old Growth Troll, yeah, that one's relevant, but also not. Like, the mana pips are relevant, especially if they have Storm or Cavalier or something here. But, yep. Like, if we were on the play and went Bishop into Righteous Valkyrie into Collected Company, we could potentially keep up with whatever they got here, but that land drop had been 1 card earlier, it would have been a lot better. Put it with a boatload of mana here. Lucranos, sure. Okay, let's storm the festival. That's terrifying. Another storm the festival? Sure, why not? Alright, as much fun as this is to watch Mono Green Master Gate, I'm not going to continue. Alright, take a look at this hand. Pretty decent even on the draw. So definitely a keep. And if they kill our dork, we still get a... okay, so we get a rematch with Mono Red. Yeah, I gotta play Brushland here. Whether we could play Green Pathway, but then okay. Giada, go. Yep. Interesting. here, attack with Giada, place a Garda. Elf on top, not exactly ideal. Nice to get the win back against mono red. Alright, getting paired against a platinum opponent. Definitely can't keep this hand, especially on the draw. Gigantha could be a couple of different decks. Guess we put back one of the Cocos. Gigantha deck that plays white. I have no idea. Oh, okay. So we're up against Auras, got it. Mm-hmm. Yep, don't think we're beating this one. Alright, well, I mean... that's just not going to be good enough. Alright, we're back with the wrap for Green White Angels here in Best of One. Now, normally I don't do Best of One videos on the channel, but Green White Angels is not a good meta deck in Best of Three. It's very specific to what it's good against. It's generally good against the aggro decks. Seems like it has a reasonable matchup against against Rakdos midrange, which is a bit surprising for mostly a creature pile. But when you have so many collected companies and Emeria's calls, I've had pretty reasonable success against Rakdos, although we're probably a close matchup. They're maybe a slight favorite, but I've had decent results against them. But a lot of other decks, the Izzet based decks, you can have reasonable success against. But like blue-white control, Lotus Field combo, Rakdos Sacrifice, at least against a very good pilot of the deck, and a lot of other things, this deck just doesn't feel quite up to power. Now, obviously, in Best of One, you see a lot more aggressive decks. You see a lot more mono red, a lot more spirits. You see some mono green, which this deck is certainly a dog to, but especially on the play can win against. Angels, it's very good in a specific meta, and that is where aggro decks are heavy, where Rakdos midrange is a decent presence, but decks like blue-white, decks like the Fires decks kind of, go over the top of what this deck is doing. So, a lot of people talking about the addition of the Mana Dorks. So, this deck is not good at playing a pound-for-pound mid-range game against control, fires, etc. So you need to be faster. Hence the need for the elves, even if it makes the mana base a little bit clunkier. The openings where you go 1-drop elf into 3-drop into collected company tend to be very good. Some of the openings even where you go bishop into Righteous Valkyrie into Coco or Resplendent Angel, those draws tend to be very good. A lot of the draws where you have like Mana Dorks, Giada, and say Akaya's Reconstruction with like 2 or 3 lands, those decks can be very middling, or draws can be very middling. So the power of the deck is definitely in these two creatures, and then Collected Company and Kalia's Reconstruction. Bishop, important role player. Giada, a little bit awkward multiples, but is powerful enough on its own. And then the dorks are kind of important. The one of Sigarda in best of one, you could easily replace this with a fourth Kalia's Reconstruction. I just unfortunately don't have the rare wild card at the moment to replace it. And Emeria's Call is a bit of a hedge. I like running 24 lands in this deck just to be able to hit your second, third, and fourth land drops. Now maybe it's not as much in best of one where the smoothing happens. You can afford go down to 23. But I find this card in best of 3 / Pioneer. It's nice to have a split card of Mana Source / late game Flood Insurance. A lot of games you find yourself in best of 3 only wanting to draw the fourth or one of the copies of Kalia. It's one of the few cards to get you back in, after multiple sweepers from blue-white control, or after Fire's decks kind of taking over the game. Sideboard, still work in progress. Really haven't updated it since the last video. I like a lot of it. Somebody explained to me what the Ajani is for. The Ajani is mainly for the mirror match and against mono green, both of which make a lot of sense to me, but I don't think you see the mirror often enough. And mono green, I don't know that a 4-mana Planeswalker is going to be enough to solve a matchup that is pretty atrocious, because it kind of fits into the bill of blue-white control and fires. While this is a creature deck, I think it's more closer to a mid-range deck than rather just a straight tribal deck. So you have that weird situation where a lower-end mid-range deck kind of gets destroyed by higher mid-range decks like Fires, and obviously a ramp deck like Mono Green. So, not to say you can't win games in those matchups, but they're bad matchups. So, anywho, this has been John for Arena Nexus MTG, playing a little bit of Best of 1 Explore, and we'll have at least one more Angels video coming out this month, but whether it be Best of 1, Best of 3, we'll see if I can make some tweaks to the sideboard and get this deck where I feel it's reasonable enough in Best of 3. Otherwise, it'll be another Best of 1 video. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you like Explorer videos and Historic Brawl. And don't forget that the Lord of the Rings set's coming out, so you might see some unique cards coming out in the Historic Brawl set. And we'll see you for our next video.